Welcome to Mindful Ambition, the podcast where we explore what it means to lead with purpose and ambition without losing ourselves in the process. I am your host, Dr. Andrea, licensed psychologist, consultant, speaker, and founder of Mindfully Mine and Theraboss. Each week, I sit with powerful women and emotionally intelligent leaders to unpack what drives them and how they stay grounded while pursuing big goals. Let's get started. Today's guest is someone who doesn't just talk about stress and mindset. She helps people fundamentally change the way they live inside their bodies and mind. I'm excited to welcome Laura Weiner-Kiser, founder and CEO of Change by Challenge. Laura is a certified stress and mindset coach, behavior change specialist, and corporate wellness leader who works with individuals and organizations to address stress at its roots, not just manage its symptoms. With a background in kinesiology and more than a dozen coaching certifications spanning body mechanics, neuro-somatic intelligence, and behavior change, Laura brings a uniquely integrative and data-driven approach to health and well-being. She began her career as a personal trainer, but quickly realized that lasting health doesn't come from exercise and nutrition alone. It comes from understanding the mind, the nervous system, and how we respond to life's daily challenges. Isn't that the truth? Leading corporate wellness programs or speaking on stage, her mission is clear: to help people reclaim authority over their stress, their mindset, and ultimately their lives. Laura, I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to Mindful Ambition.
Well, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here, to be on Mindful Ambition, to share this space with you, and I can't wait to see what we get into today.
Yes. Well, as I've already offline spoke about my morning, this is going to be a very great topic to talk about today. So you started your career in fitness and kinesiology. That's a nice word. But your work today goes far beyond the physical body. Take us back. What was the moment you realized that true health had more to do with the mind and nervous system and not just diet and exercise alone?
Great question. I found this pattern. So once I got my nutrition specialist certification, it's kind of when I felt like my job started to take its own, like a career path. And I got really good at helping people lose weight. We were building new habits, like everything was going in the right direction. And then I started to notice this pattern with a good amount, like probably 75% of my clients were after like 6 months or so, the habits that we built weren't sustaining and they were gaining the weight back. And I was like, but we did all the things right. We built it on habits. We did the positive reinforcement. They've been doing it. They didn't feel deprivation. And it didn't make sense to me. So that was one piece of what was going on. The second piece was people would come to me and they'd tell me their goal. I want to lose 10, 20, 100 pounds. And when I'd ask them why, to understand, the deeper motivation, more often than not, it came down to I wanted to feel comfortable and confident in their own skin. I was like, hear you on that. Okay, cool. Let's get to work. And they wouldn't feel comfortable or confident in their skin. And then they'd want to move it lower. I must need to lose more weight. And they just kept lowering
the goalpost, moving the goalpost. Yeah.
Correct. And I was like, what they're craving isn't weight loss. What they're craving is to feel comfortable and confident in their own skin. So those two puzzle pieces together made me like, what's happening? And then at the same time, my therapist told me to record a session. Apparently, I was coaching myself in my own therapy sessions, and she's kind of the one who introduced me to coaching as a profession. And that next day, I listened to a mindset coaching podcast, shared it with one of my personal training clients who had been struggling with something for like 3 years. And all of a sudden, she started consistently showing up, doing the things that she wanted to be doing for 3 months after that conversation. And so I was like, what is this coaching thing? And so I started looking into it. And the more layers I unearthed, the more I started to see more clearly how distorted our perceptions are around goal achievement, and like how our mindset is really where everything begins, whether that's health, whether that's happiness, whether it's success, whether it's peace. Everything starts with our brain. So I've realized what I like to learn. I realized that I could actually give people a satisfying result where they can lose weight and feel comfortable and confident in their skin. It's not that I don't work with weight loss people anymore. That typically is just kind of like a side benefit of what I do with people. But now it's much more about like mindfulness, leadership, and just fulfillment in their own lives and like how they want to experience themselves you know?
I find that to be such a big part, even like when, like even with the work that I do with my clients, it's like if you're not finding like that self-love, it doesn't matter really how much weight you're losing. It doesn't matter how many goals you have accomplished. It really doesn't matter because you're right. The thing that's going to come out of that is that you're going to continue moving the goalposts without acknowledging the person you had to become to even reach the goals that you currently have reached. And the thing is that sometimes you can have, reach those goals, look at yourself in the mirror and still have that negative self-talk, which is not conducive to how you're going to look at yourself, how you're going to allow other people to treat you, how you're going to move within relationships, personal relationships, work relationships, all these things affect where you are mindset wise. And yeah, I can see how like trajectory goes, like this is where you started and then how you have evolved that into working with leaders and how that's such a big part of them. I mean, I think that for a lot of people, we can from an outside perspective can look at a leader and just be like, I want to be them, or, they have everything, or like, what can they be stressed out about, or what can possibly be wrong, right? And like, what people don't see is the invisible weight that took that person, or that person has been holding on, that also is probably adding on throughout the 3 years to be that leader, to get to that point, to be where they are. And, they also too need that support, that, those mindset changes, though that constant work of, whether it's perfectionism or this like, burnout or, whatever those like beliefs are, they need to constantly be challenging them and shifting them. And the other thing that I wanted to highlight, one of the things that you mentioned was they get to the point, they do the work, and then 6 months later, the habits fall and things like that. Well, here's the thing, and I don't know that people realize this. The work never stops, right? Mm-hmm. I find that I've had clients come into therapy. They're doing great. They feel great 6 months later. The world is wonderful. Yeah. Sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies. Somewhere along the way, because they felt so great, and that's wonderful, they also stopped doing the things that made them feel that great to begin with.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You kind of fall back into old patterns, old habits, old things, right? And then what happens? We now go back to the same starting point. A little bit different, but same starting point all over again. And people don't realize that it's consistency.
It's like, even as you're saying it, like the mindset we carry when setting a goal. Like I remember reading about this in Annie Duke's book. It's called Quit, the Power of Knowing When to Walk Away. And she talked about how we think of goals. And we think of them as like a destination, but what we don't realize is how we think of things then creates the motivational system within ourselves. So when we set that goal, to your point, we reach it, and then our brain's like, okay, we got there. We can relax, and the willpower we've been using doesn't keep going, right? And so people will say, this is my goal. And when they're talking about like a lifestyle change goal, which changing how you experience yourself, your mind, your stress, your body, your health, all of that is lifestyle changes. It's not, let me just go to the gym, let me just eat better. Like, those are factors, sure. But I think it's kind of like the paradigm of suffering. It's easy short-term choices lead to hard long-term consequences, and hard short-term choices lead to easy long-term consequences, right? I think people have to be more aware of the choice they're making when they're leaning towards change, right? Like, if you have a goal of losing weight for a wedding, fine. Like, do you have fun, look great, love that for you. But if you want to feel successful, you want to feel confident, if you want to change how you are feeling about your life, I think what's not often talked about is like the understanding you need to come in with is, you're talking about literally changing how you relate to yourself, how you relate to your world. It's going to be a process. It's going to take years, and it's a beautiful journey, but it's not a one-stop shop. It's not just, let me do these external habits and that's going to generate the feeling. You have to holistically engage with your life in a new way. And it's hard to it's a hard thing to grasp because it's a different level of like investment, effort, energy. But if you ask me, as someone who has done both, done the goal, lost the weight, gained the weight, lost the weight, gained the weight, and then this way, which has been much, I mean, I much more
Sustainable.
sustainable and dare I say enjoyable. Like
Yeah.
it is so much nicer to like one, like myself, two, not be an asshole to myself, but also to appreciate my body versus shit on it when it's not doing
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I want every time I want because I'm not a fucking machine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I've gained and lost, and that emotional journey of, oh yay, I lost the weight. Oh God, I hate myself because I gained the weight. Oh yay, I lost the weight. Oh God, I hate like I would much rather spend the consistent, slower energy in the lifestyle change than the
Mm-hmm.
roller coaster of relief and shame. But I think that's a personal choice everyone has to make. Obviously, I'm biased. I think most people would prefer the like slow, steady burn for consistent results, but
Right.
it's a personal choice.
One thing that came up in my mind when you were speaking was being able to enjoy or going to work out, right? And it's like, whatever your workout choice is, whether it's yoga, Pilates, the gym, whatever that is for you, whatever form of movement you prefer, changing the mindset of I have to go to the gym or I have to go to Zumba class or I have to go to I get to go to the gym. I get to use movement in my life. I get to do these things, right? So that shift in the mindset of being able to look at it as something that, you are getting to do can very much help motivate you to go to that destination, whatever that may be, right? And, I'm always, throughout my life, I think I have transformed many different ways. My body has told me many different things in many different ways. Yeah, maybe HIIT is not really what you can do right now. Or like maybe you just need a little bit more mobility and flexibility. Or maybe you need a little bit of, just go do Zumba. Like go dance it out. You need to dance it out, right? Like that's okay. Listen to
Yeah.
your body. Our minds and our bodies are connected and our bodies are always speaking to us. And it's so fascinating what you can do and the changes that you can make into your life when you listen. And I feel like we don't pause enough to actually listen to what our bodies are telling us.
Hard stop on that. Just
Yeah.
don't listen. Yes, like so much over. And I love how you said that because a common thing people fall into is if I want to get blank, fit, lean, cut, whatever you want to do, I have to have the perfect workout routine. And that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
true. And so then we force ourselves into it has to be hit, it has to be this. And then we create a relationship with exercise that we loathe because we're operating by a crappy algorithm that we
Mm-hmm.
created in our head that someone else told us this works. But like, is it working for you? What is your body saying? Like, when I'm trying to get people out of the I have tos, I make them come up with a menu of things they do for working out, dance, yoga, Pilates, functional, whatever. And I'm like, okay. And in the morning when you or whenever you go work out, I want you to have the thought, I want to appreciate my body
Mm-hmm.
today. And then ask your body what type of energy would feel appreciative and listen. And I tell them,
Yeah.
set a 1 minute timer and don't do anything until the last 10 seconds of that timer, because that's when the true answer is going to come up. Because in the beginning,
Yep.
the ego brain is going to tell you, like, you got to go hard, you got to get hit, like, you got to just push, push, push. But when you listen, it is actually like people say stress or exercise releases stress. It
Mm-hmm.
can, but if you are forcing yourself because you're falsely believing that a perfect workout is going to give you something because you struggle with low self-worth, which is the fucking source of all of it, then
Yep.
you're actually creating more stress because you're not in tune with your body. Like
Mm-hmm.
our if we really zoom out and think about how fortunate we are for everything our body gets to do for us, we don't look at that until we're in pain, until we're suffering, until we're incapable. And then
Yeah.
all of us will have that moment where at the end
Mm-hmm.
or whenever that pain comes of like, I wish I would have appreciated it. So
Mm-hmm.
why not try to engage with your body in a more supportive way? This is the thing that's going to get you through your life, the rest of your life, you know?
Absolutely. You talk openly about our culture being in a health and well-being crisis, particularly when it comes to chronic stress. How do you help people reframe stress as something systematic and not a personal weakness?
It starts with confusion, if I'm being frank, because I'm not looking for anyone to hold my truths. I'm looking to help them understand biological purposes of stress and kind of weed out the narratives we've been taught about what stress is and what stress isn't, so then they
Mm-hmm.
can go experiment within their vessel to understand how they experience stress, how it helps them, how it hurts them, and where they need to put new patterns into their habits to adjust that. Because we're creatures of belonging, right? Like we want to be in a tribal nature, and our society, like busyness is a sign of like a badge of honor right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And urgency and a lack of time, efficiency, optimization. Like we're being pushed so hard towards Machineville, and that's the way the culture is. So to fit in, to belong to our culture, being urgent, being efficient, being perfect, being busy, that's the current blueprint for what success, quote unquote, looks like. But
Mm-hmm.
when you actually look at people who get to the top, they're not happy, and
Yep.
they don't even necessarily feel successful because, again, just like with weight loss, they just keep moving the bar. So it takes a lot of like hard, honest truths about like what do you want, what do you not want. Let's go experiment with some things to get some life data for you about like what makes you feel successful, what doesn't make you feel successful, and like help them find the connections of their truth and how they experience it so they can start creating and shaping that. So that's kind of like, okay, here's the guiding post. Like we've weeded through some stuff. This is how you want to go. And then we have to come back and be like, okay, so now we have to look at the role stress has been playing in your life and the purpose it's been filling. So for a lot of people, they use stress and pressure and procrastination to perform, to be perfect, to honestly feel like they're enough. Like that's their motivational system. And it always it frustrates me and it makes me giggle that like what we're not taught about is like what it means to be a human being and how our body and our brain work so you can work better with it. Like of all the things we learn, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that should be the most fundamental thing. Obviously, I'm biased, but like, come on, I need it
Mm-hmm.
because when you understand, like, stress is there to help bring you more into the conscious moment so you can have more attention to make a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you are brushing your teeth, you don't need to be conscious. You know how to do that. But if you're navigating a high stress situation at work, or if you're in a high conflict conversation with someone you love, having a stress response in your body means your body is having a healthy response. Not all stress is bad. It is a healthy reaction to the stimulus you're experiencing. The
Mm-hmm.
issue is we manufacture it because we're so scared. We crave control and we don't know ourselves, so we don't know how to trust ourselves. So we just keep beating ourselves up from the inside out to try and have someone say, good job.
And that's actually such a scary thing when you really look at it, right? Because let's say you're living that way for 10, 20, 30 years, and then you take a moment and you start to reflect. What do you remember? Always stressed. Yeah, like it's like the thing that you're gonna remember is like, well, first of all, if you do remember anything, is like the constant stress of it all. And there's a lack of enjoyment then within your life
Yeah.
of and a lack of fulfillment of the things that you were able to accomplish. The other part of it all, it's like, we were talking about like culture and society. It's, this theme that we have to be stressed in order, like stress equates success. Stress equates, that you are ambitious and that you're reaching your goals and you're doing all these things. But, one example that came to my mind was, I was working with a leader who found it difficult to understand the concept of delegation. If
Mm,
I can delegate these things, I then reduce my stress and then I can move on to other things. I don't need to be focused on the step by step process. I need to trust the team I have built behind me to be able to handle the things that need to get done.
trust. Hmm.
Trust yourself that you built a good team.
Right.
Trust your team that they are going to show up. But if you don't allow them to show up, they will never get the opportunity to show you that they can.
Right, right. And that's the whole problem is like you crave space. Delegation's obviously the answer, but trust is built not through perfection. And when you're struggling to let go of control, you're afraid they're going to screw up. And the reality is they're going to, and they need to. And you need to give them that space so they can learn. And together, that's how you build trust. And you don't have to do it in, the highest, most important meeting. You can give, like, I give my coaches role playing scenarios and I give them exercises so they feel more confident to screw up. And when they screw up, like I screw up still, own it and like acknowledge it and be a freaking human being about it. But the whole fear of blank is what stops us because fear and stress and ego and control and judgment, all of those, they are the same freaking system. And I understand and I have empathy for people because we are creatures of belonging and this is what our society looks like. I guess I'm just sad, but I'm hoping that people are courageous enough to like wake up and see there's another way of living, that I can enjoy my life and I can enjoy myself and I can witness myself being a good mother, being someone who contributes to my community, being someone who can be silly and fun. Like I can be a human being and experience my life versus being a sacrifice of it.
I can be a human being living my life versus a sacrifice of it. That's amazing.
I mean, isn't that kind of what's happening?
No, it is. I mean, we are, one of the things that I have said, and, and this is particularly with my son, is that, I hear a lot of people say, like, and even my mom, right? Like, I would die for you, right? Like, I would die for my kids. I would die for my kids. What about choosing to live for them?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That, like, I don't think people understand that concept. You need to also live for your kids. Dying for them, it's actually the easy part.
Yeah. That's like the inevitable part. You're freaking older, by the way.
Yeah. Like, by the way, yeah. But like dying for them, that's the easy part. Choosing to live for them, they're going to see, they're observant, they're doing all these things, right? Like they can pay attention to all the things that you're doing, all the ways that you're navigating, right? But it's also, other people are doing that too. Even if you're not a parent, if you're a leader in an executive position at your team, in a company, you don't think that your team is observing how you're moving?
Well, I just probably got the greatest compliment in an exit interview with one of my coaches. They know I like honesty, and I'm pretty clear about like what I want when I ask questions. I'm like, I want harsh honesty. I'm looking for feedback. I want something I can do to improve.
I don't need the fluff. I want like, give it to me.
Like, I don't need fluffiness. Fluffiness is just confusing to me. And I asked them, like, what do you like about my leadership style and what did you not like? And what he said he liked is that I walked the walk. And he specifically cited like work-life balance. He's like, there have been times where like you canceled a meeting with us and you're like, guys, I've just had a day. I can make it to the meeting, but I wouldn't be doing you justice. I wouldn't be serving our team that way. And I'm really sorry. I hope you guys take this hour and can do something for yourself. And he's like, and I had to cancel a meeting with you like 2 weeks ago. And when I did, you're like, good on you. And then I told you I was hungover and you're like, at least you had some fun. Now take care of yourself. Have some water.
I love that.
Right. And he's like, you practice the work-life balance and made me feel like when I needed to take care of myself, you would be mad at me if I didn't. And I literally got teary-eyed in the exit interview. I was like, that might be the greatest compliment that anyone's ever given me because I don't want to create a factory machine in my business where we produce and we optimize. Like my metrics aren't about revenue. My metrics are about impact. And like, that's what I can live with. That's just who I am. And I get that that's not going to work for everyone, but like, it works for me.
That concept of it, your goal is not revenue, it's impact. I mean, the thing with revenue, and I always tell people, because that can be a big one, right? People have revenue goals and yeah, I know, I get it. Financially, we need finances to be able to support ourselves and to sustain our lifestyle, right? But here's the thing about revenue. It ebbs and flows.
Always.
It ebbs and flows. And the thing with that is that, yeah, you can measure it, but what really happens and what I find to be actually like really the best revenue is that impact that you can make, changing one person. If you can change the life or the mindset of one person, and they are loving themselves and they are practicing self-compassion and they're practicing self-trust and care and setting boundaries and, reclaiming their themselves. All right, I'm good. I made my revenue. Look, we're good.
Truly. And what's ironic is, yes, like I could even argue that's a privileged statement for me to say because of where I'm at, and I acknowledge that. But also, I was asked a really pivotal question in the beginning of my career of like, because I was so afraid of it failing, like my business specifically. And a coach asked me, who do you need to be so if the business fails, you'd be okay? And I'm like, I don't think you understand. I don't want my business to fail. And she goes, I know, but you're so afraid of it failing. You're not giving it a chance to live. And that really hit me. I was like, crap, that makes so much sense. Okay. So I thought about it. And I thought about like kind of the salesy, manipulative way that I had been taught about certain things with business. And if the destination was failure, no matter what, I felt shame that like I would have led my business that way. And then I thought about like if I followed my moral compass and I focused on impact, and I felt peace. And I was like, even if it doesn't stand the test of time, even if this isn't my forever, and like I pray that it is, the souls I get to touch, the impact I get to have, not souring anyone, but creating a safe space where people can champion themselves, where they can step into that leadership role in their own mind and be the authority. That's a gift for life. And the irony of it is when you lead with impact and that's genuine, then they want to refer people, they want to keep coming back. And it actually creates the money component, but that's never my focus. And I will never allow it to be, because I think that's where all of us get distracted for understandable reasons. But I don't need more money. I would like more money. I don't need more money. I crave impact. I crave making a difference in the people's lives who are willing to show up and do the work. And if you're willing, I got you. I'm like, that's just kind of how I think of it.
You mentioned authority over your mind. What does that look like in practice?
Having an actual choice, knowing what you think, understanding the different ebbs and flows, not choosing from fear. Man, when I first became a coach, I did not understand how, I don't even know where I was. Like, I don't even know who, I mean, I now know who was leading my brain, but it was the autopilot safety patterns of the ego constantly driving, constantly pointing out, if you do this, this bad thing could happen. If you don't do this, this bad thing could happen. Are you sure this is the right thing? Because if it's not, then these bad things could happen. It's like constantly like threat, but never towards something meaningful. And there's a couple moments where like I had to challenge my understanding of things. And in that moment of challenging, I was like, wait, why am I thinking that way? And that pause, that moment of like, why am I thinking that way? All of a sudden it created space for a new voice to come in. And that's what I've seen is like, we don't realize that our autopilot way of being isn't the truest version of ourselves. It's the strongest survival version of ourselves. And we're not always in threat. And half the threats that we think we're perceiving aren't real threats. They're just made up in our brain because our ego wants to stay in control, right? So when I talk about being the authority of your mind, I mean, having the agility within your own mind to recognize who you want to be, to discern different options, to make different choices, and to actually have agency over what you do versus feeling controlled by your impulses or your fears. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. I mean, I think one of the things that we were talking about, like anxiety and fear and how it's there to protect us. I always tell people, like, look, if you're standing in front of a lion and your brain is telling you to run in the other direction, yeah.
Yeah, sure. For sure.
That is an appropriate, elevated sense of fear, anxiety that wants you to push in the other direction, move as fast as you can. Right. That is absolutely, your survival mechanism working exactly how it's supposed to. When you have to make big decisions, when you have to make uncomfortable decisions, when you have to expand your comfort zone, those things feel like they are the lion standing in front of you.
Yeah. And that's not bad.
But in reality, it might be just a, little cat.
Right.
It's just a cat.
But it's
not a lion.
Thing, because that moment of like, oh crap, what do I do? Well, you can be in your own mind and think through, how do I want to make this decision versus like, what do I want
Mm-hmm.
to do? Like, take a step back actually behind that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious your answer. I was asked this question yesterday since we're here.
Okay.
He asked me, how do I guide leaders who are between two decisions, two pathways? Both of them could be beautiful, but both of them could have a really, really hard, big negative impact. Like, how do I help them discern where to go and how to make that decision? And my answer was, imagine the worst case scenario and decide which one you can stand by. Like, if the worst scenario
Mm-hmm.
happens, you can't know from where you're at, but we can look at the values we want to make that decision through and hope that the good things happen. But if the bad thing happens, how are you going to be able to say, I thought about this, I thought that this could be a possibility, and I weighed all the other options, and this is still the best choice that I could have made in the moment. And I'm just as pissed off as you guys are. It's unfair, and I am okay with everyone being angry at me. I wish I could have had a crystal ball, but like, this is what I could do with the information I had. Like, if you can stand by the hard stuff. So it makes me curious how you would guide someone if you were working with a leader who they have two paths, both could be really, really beautiful, but they both have really bad negative consequences that they don't work. How would you guide someone through that?
I always tell people in any decision making that you're going to do, weigh the pros and cons. Here's the thing. You can make a pros and cons list of scenario A, and you can make a pros and cons list of scenario B. I am not talking about the amount of cons or pros on each list. I am talking about the weight of each. Because the thing is, there can be a con, there can be 20 cons, but really just be a pound, theoretically, of weight. And there can be 5 cons on the other scenario, and it can be a 30-pound dumbbell.
Correct.
Those two things look very different.
Right.
So you need to think about what is the thing that it can be a little bit more aligned with your values. What is the thing that you can be a little bit more comfortable with sustaining? Even because there's always going to be cons with a decision, you have to know which ones you're willing and more able to manage and deal with.
Yeah.
And then that's the road you go down.
Yeah.
It can be scary, it can be uncomfortable, it can be, not ideal, but
That's leadership.
I much rather a 1 pound dumbbell than a 30-pound one when
Yeah.
if you're walking around with it at all times, right? So you want to make sure where your scale is tipping and be very mindful of that when you're making decisions.
I think that's great advice. And that was always the hiccup I ran into when I would make my own pros and cons list. I'm like, I can't even do this because the weights aren't the same. And I'm like, I have to find a different one. That's the point, right?
That's the point, Laura.
I need to find a different way of thinking about this. It doesn't make sense to me. This is very heavy. This is heavy. I don't even understand it. But that's what I like about this stuff is like our avoidance of discomfort probably sabotages more than we recognize. But if we recognize it as a cue to get conscious, to lead, to be present, to be the authority in our mind, to make a decision that we can stand by, to make a list of pros and cons and figure out where we stand. If the bad thing happens, it's going to be a lot easier to stand by that decision than just trying to control what you can't control.
So, what I want to ask is what is one small shift, mindset shift, that you can give to our listeners? Either things that they may have to let go of or change or challenge, just so that they can start living their lives with more intention and authority over their mind. What is the biggest one? What is the one that is coming up to your mind right now? I know there's a many.
One coming up. I got like that's in my brain popping right now.
You're like, I already got a worksheet.
You said small. I'm like small. Okay. I'll preference with this because like regardless of anything I would say, awareness is the access point. So like if you don't have awareness, anything I would say is irrelevant. You have to be aware of the discomfort. You have to be aware of the thought. You have to be aware of yourself to recognize and even apply any of this. So like that's a very person dependent thing. Like if you already have great awareness, and mind you, in the moment awareness, not reflective awareness. This isn't like an awareness of like, here's my shit and this is where it came from. Like I'm talking about like aware of how you're operating within yourself in the moment. If you don't have that, that is the very first thing you need to train. So like that. But if you do have present awareness in the moment, I can't do one, so I'm going to do two, but they're both small.
Okay.
Because there's two different people experience the world different ways. So
Absolutely.
if you're someone who has a lot of anxiety and a lot of thoughts, I would say start fact checking your thoughts to get more clarity. I'm not asking you to do anything with the information you actually gain, but like if let's say you hear a thought like I'm not working hard enough, like pause when you hear it, ask yourself, is that thought 100% absolutely true? Meaning, if it's 99.9% true, that means no, it's not 100% absolutely true. It's like 100% absolutely. Whether it's a yes or no is irrelevant. The whole point is to kind of like bring your brain down. And then the second question is, what's a more true thought? And more often than not, what you'll hear is, I'm scared that if I don't present this presentation perfectly, then I'm going to get fired or I won't get the promotion, or I won't get the raise. Okay. Okay. Like just get
Now we
the
can go
no.
somewhere with that.
Right. Right. But like bring your threat detector down. So like fact check your thoughts. The second one, like define what you mean. So when you do have awareness, like I'm scared that it's not going to be good enough. What is enough? What would be enough? Why do I think it's not going to be enough? What would enough look like? Does enough depend on someone else's feedback? Like challenge the words, define what you mean, be clear with yourself because you are deceiving yourself. This is a you versus you game. And you also hold the keys to freedom. But you have to, or you have the opportunity to meet yourself, get to know yourself, and learn how to lead yourself.
I love that. Like, get to know yourself, meet yourself. You know, I feel so compelled with that because there's a lot of people that I ask the question, like, who are you? And then they don't have a response.
Yeah.
Or people who are, you know, uncomfortable. You know, I've worked with people who I'm like, have you ever taken yourself on a date? Like, have you ever like gone, taken yourself out, like done something for yourself, like treated yourself nicely and like pampered yourself and like just done things like I don't mean like pamper yourself in the essence of going to a massage, right? I mean, those are really good.
Love that.
But I mean like really like plan out a date for yourself. Like give back to yourself, get to know yourself, get to know what you like to do, what you don't like to do. You know, sometimes we, you know, maybe you eat so fast that you don't even realize whether you like this or not. You're just inhaling the food and you're like, all right, this is just for sustenance, and you keep it moving. Maybe like eat your food mindfully so that you can taste everything and be like, wow, I really don't like that anymore. Or you know what? I really enjoyed this, right?
Yeah.
Just enjoy the moment with yourself, your company, get to know yourself. Once you do that, and here's the thing, when you do that, you tap into the good, the bad, the ugly. I think that people don't do that because the bad and the ugly keeps them away from getting to really know themselves. But here is the thing. If you know the good, bad, and the ugly of who you are, you can work on those things. You can improve those things. You can change those things. And take it a step further, you can own yourself in a way and you can take authority over your life in a way that then other people can't use those things against you, to weaponize those things against you.
Yeah. 100%.
You get to make choices, you get to make transitions, and you get to evolve. You are allowed to evolve as a person, but first you have to know yourself. You need to know where you are to know where you're going.
100%. I mean, and like that's awareness, right? How do we work on our bad and our ugly if we aren't even aware of what they are? And what keeps us from looking at it is the fear of seeing it, aka the ego. So like the whole thing is the part of us that's in charge doesn't want to stop being in charge. It wants to keep driving the car, but you have to have enough courage to be like, I can see my humanity, the bad and the ugly, and be kind to myself with it to get to know and fight for the life I want to experience. But can I tell you what my favorite part of it is?
What?
How the people are like when you do the work, how the people you love the most actually start to do the work, right? Like I've always said the greatest gift of my journey is watching my best friend take her journey. She started it like probably 2 years after I started mine, but I've been able to watch her find more freedom, find more peace. And I'm like, it makes me feel so much love. And she has said many times that like seeing who I was and who I am was what was like, well, if she is such a transition, what could that be from? It was like a curious point for her enough that she would want to fight for that. And like we all want people to change. We all want people to that we love to not suffer as much, but we try and tell them what to do. And really you just have to model to them that it's possible.
The whole practice what you preach, right? So it's,
Mm-hmm.
what your I don't know if it was your client you mentioned or your one of your coaches had told you that you practice what you preach. I mean, I think that that's such a big thing, and yeah, people are looking, people are paying attention. People might not say anything, people might not tell you they're paying attention, but people are paying attention,
Always.
and they're going to see what you're doing, how you're evolving, how you're moving. And you know what? Even within that, there's going to be moments where maybe those people will be able to see the other side and they will get to be, and I put that very important, they will get to be on the other, at the end of that chapter for you and get to see that transformation. Yeah. Not everyone should have the privilege to see the other side if they do not serve you a purpose.
And that's kind of the part of the journey, right? And like,
yeah,
it's seeing how you want to be, who you want to be, and handling those people. And again, it's hard, but
it is.
In a world of people that crave control, we're probably the most out of control. And ironically, what we're talking how to gain control by learning yourself, learning how to navigate yourself so you can be your kind of foundational center of the ecosystem of your life, right? It's very ironic to me around control. And I'm like, it's not out there. It's in here. Come on.
Thank you so much for being here today. I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I do want to do a little bit of a quick fire questions, throw at you, whatever comes first to mind. Say it. Okay.
That's dangerous.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So a value you anchor your work in.
Alignment.
Yes, I love that. A belief about stress you had to personally unlearn.
That it's bad or necessary.
A practice that helps you reset when life feels overwhelming.
Silliness.
And that
takes many forms, by the way.
A mantra or phrase you return to often.
Oh, what's for me will find me. Over and over every single day.
Ooh, what is it again?
What's for me will find me.
What's for me will find me. I love that. What does ambition with intention mean to you?
Ambition with intention. Having clarity and the ability to discern how you want to grow and succeed and excel in a way that is aligned for you, but doesn't require you to lose yourself.
I love that. Losing yourself, I think, is a big one. And so we have to be very mindful not to do that. Well, thank you for joining us on Mindful Ambition. If today's conversation with Laura Weiner-Kiser resonated with you, be sure to subscribe, share this episode with someone navigating stress or burnout, and leave us a review. Until next time, keep showing up with intention. Your ambition deserves to be honored. Thank you.
Thank you.